We
We're
are live.
on. All right. I want to welcome everyone here. To answer your question from a little bit earlier, MJ, is we will offer the Healing One again. And we'll just have to figure out when and stuff. Another series that I'm going to be starting is meditation. It'll be an hour class. And first, my plan is to talk a little bit about meditation and then give something to meditate on, and there'll be a quiet time in that, and everyone will have their mics off, or we'll mute you, and so that there'll be no disturbances. And at the end, everyone will share what they get through meditation, and it'll be a developing event, and it'll be ongoing and ongoing and ongoing, nonstop. So that should be really good, and I'll share my ideology, understanding of meditation, what it's about, and then have everyone get into it, and we'll see what we all get. And the way that I was taught, and this is great for healing too, in perceptions that develop from meditation. The way that I was taught, I don't know if I told everyone the story before. I was in the order for about maybe 3-4 months, and everyone always talked about meditation, but I hadn't ever done it for some reason or another. And one day, I guess it was in Fort Worth, that the teacher called everyone up. There were about 20 of us to the chapel area, and he said, okay, I want everyone to meditate on this specific question that I have, and I want everyone to give me in 20 minutes, or excuse me, in 40 minutes or an hour, I don't remember which, I want everyone to give me the correct answer to this meditation, and they should all be similar answers. And I'm thinking, how is this possible? You know, I didn't even know what meditation was. So here I am sitting in this darkened room, except for a few candles, and and everyone had a pencil and paper to write down their answers and what they were getting. I'm thinking, I don't even know what meditation is. The guy next to me is snoring, so I'm going to just close my eyes and, get some Z's. And so, and other people around me were, just breathing really heavy, like they were in a sleep or something. And so here I am sitting there with my legs all the way out, my arms like this, and I'm starting to breathe heavy. Then all of a sudden I was still semi-conscious, and I found myself in this scene like I was in this huge circus tent. I mean, it was huge, a very big high top, and it went up maybe about 100 feet or so. And it might have been 100 feet in circumference all around, or about 300 or 400 feet. It was like, I don't know, maybe a city block round. It was huge. And then there was a flap all the way in the back, and the flap was open, and no one else was in the tent but me in the bleachers. And in comes Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Pluto, and Dumbo. They're walking single file into the tent. And they didn't look at me or anything else. They just went up in the center of the tent was these two ladders on maybe about 100 feet apart. And two of them went on this side, two went on this side, and they're climbing up. And they start doing a high wire act. And I'm looking at this completely dumbfounded. And they were doing these somersaults and acrobats and all the other stuff on these high wires, and I just burst out laughing. No one around me lifted up their head or anything like that, but there was spittle coming out of my mouth. It was so funny, and I just cracked up. And then the teacher stood up. He thought someone was dying or choking to death, and I put my head down like this, and he saw that no one was dying, so he sat back down. And he kept asking the question that he wanted to know the answer to from everyone. And it had to be the correct answer. So I put my head down, and I found myself in the tent again. And I realized that Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Pluto, and Dumbo were telling a story in their acrobats.
Oh, wow.
And I started getting, what is this about? What are they trying to say? What does this mean? And then I started to get it, and I started writing down the answer to what they were describing in their acrobats. And then the lights went on, and I guess time just flew. And it must have been at least 40 minutes or 45 minutes to an hour, I don't know, somewhere in there. And teacher said, okay, I want everyone to tell me what they got for an answer, and they all had to be correct. And I'm thinking, okay, sure. And, you know, with the guy next to me snoring and other people breathing heavy. Out of the 20 of us, I was the fifth one to give the answer, and it was the same answer as other people. About maybe 15 other people got the same answer as I did. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how is this possible? This is so cool. And so, but the idea of it was to contemplate and wonder about something. And initially, you know, I thought, I was wondering, you know, what is this about? Well, how can he ask this question and come up with the same answer as everyone else? And that was my wondering about it. And so I didn't know what he meant by his question, and no one did. And so, but everyone came up with, you know, most people came up with, you know, the same answer, 2/3 of the people, 3/4 of them.
Wow.
And so that's how I learned meditation. And so in any case, any questions I can answer about healing or anything, please feel free, you know, to ask anything.
Yeah. Yes, Mark.
Go
I
ahead.
have a question. When someone asks you to work on them for a particular healing, and that healing does not necessarily occur immediately or even within the next month, is it because they choose not to heal? Is there a physical or emotional or mental reason the healing would not happen?
Good question. No, not necessarily. And I don't want to ever find myself saying that the person's not ready or prepared or ignoring whatever. It might not be their place. It may be that place where they're ignoring what they can do, but not all the time. And oftentimes, they may be born to go through that, or their soul leading them into that at times, which is fine. There's nothing incorrect about that. Or it may lead into eventual medical intervention that they need to experience.
Okay.
And so, and that's okay. There's nothing incorrect about that. There's many people that I've worked with, not a lot, but there's some that I've worked with that have had experience of whatchamacallit, of not you know, having a response from what I do, and they go into surgery for something, and all of a sudden the doctor says, oh my God, I've never seen the skin cooperate like this before. And so that may be one thing. Or it may be leading into to finding a causal time or a causal in their body of what it's really about. And maybe it's not any of my business to be there, or our business when we're working with someone.
Thank you.
So I try not to ever judge, you know, the situation or the person, and because I never know the end of the story, you know, what it's leading into.
Okay.
And I kind of like to do that. Good question.
Okay. And do you have to be a true believer to heal?
No, I've
You have to
worked with
want
so many skeptics and you know, existentialists, and you know, they've been blown away. And it was not too long ago I worked with someone who was very much into the field of science and be educated in the field. And he just could not understand. He says, I don't understand. I just don't understand how this could be. How could this be? And, you know, as I worked with him. So God doesn't care. It's the soul that's always leading us into the next situation. And regardless whether we believe in something or not, I know a lot of agnostics that, I mean, that's anti-God, and they get to see, you know, situations or events change right before their eyes in their bodies, and it confounds them, but it doesn't matter. And it's not my place to make someone a believer like that. In my place is just to, if the situation warrants, to immediately affect them or over time.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, Ruth, please.
I have a question. Can you request healing for somebody else?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Gladly. Gladly.
So you would just work on that person now, or how does that work?
Yeah, sure. Can you tell me what their immediate situation is?
Yeah. Yes, I could.
Please.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Okay. So this is a friend of ours named Ron who owns a bicycle shop in Kenilworth. And he's probably about 70 years old, and he was in the hospital.
How old? 70?
About 70, yeah. He was
Okay.
in the hospital for a systemic infection, and he has lost a tremendous amount of weight, and he says he has no appetite, and they're talking about putting him back on prednisone. And it's like, he looks like you know, some people you see before death, and they're like a skeleton, little head on a skinny little body. That's kind of what he looks like. And I'm shocked. I was shocked to see him on Saturday. So,
doesn't prednisone also suppress the appetite?
probably he's not on it right now, but yeah.
No, it may. No, I'm thinking of something else. Prednisone may increase the weight for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to work with him. So the systemic, is it in his blood or is it in his tissue?
I have no idea, but his muscles have kind of like gotten really skinny, as he puts them. Instead of, he was a competitive rower and a bicyclist. So just to see him so skinny is shocking.
Okay, I can ask blessing on it for sure. And will you let me know, text me or email me or just email me, I mean, if anything changes? Because
Sure.
I'd love to do that.
That would be lovely.
What my perception was also is that it's almost like the infection could break. And I kept seeing with him, though, that kept coming in, even though I was focusing on the healing. I kept seeing a square box. I don't know what that means to him, but it's just, I kept seeing it and seeing it and seeing it for some reason or another. It was just like a frame, but square.
Yeah.
And maybe it's important to him in some way or another pertaining to his life. And not a coffin, but, you know, a
Good.
square box. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
do you ever have contact with him?
He does our bike repair once a year, and we stop in and
Okay.
see him every once in a while. He's he has a very calming presence. He's
Cool.
always upbeat and friendly, and you walk away after just hanging out for a while, and you're calmer. So
All right, cool. And if ever in the future you hear what that square box is, or listening to him, maybe telling a story or whatever, let's see if he doesn't mention that. Usually, when someone uh, is seen with some kind of a scene, they bring it up at some point in their life.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, there was one person in Arizona many years ago. I didn't know her the first time at the circle, and I just turned my attention to her, and I was looking directly at her and no one else in the place. And I started describing the sarcophagus that she was in, and then she, it kind of blew her away, and it meant and the sarcophagus opened and it went to a new day, and her whole life, she started crying and saying her whole life has just been changing now, and she's awakening, and the sarcophagus means new life. And so she was describing it all to me, you know. Just that's only the first story that comes to mind, but it's always correct in what's being said and what's being expressed. So this fellow too, that square box, evenly squared, and it's like translucent square box. So, you know, whatever it means. And I don't think it was a window. I'm just not sure what it was, and only he's going to know what that's about. Sure, sure. And what about you? How's your foot, your ankle?
It's the bottom of the right foot, and it could use some healing attention.
All righty, all righty. All right, so tell me, Ruth, do you sense anything happening here? Just curious.
Oh yeah, I'm.
What's that like?
I feel like I'm about 10 degrees warmer than I was before you started. And you know, I can feel the energy flowing throughout my feet and legs and entire body, basically. Just tingly all over.
I also perceived that there was going to be like a structural change in your foot. And so like it's going to crack in a good way, you know, like a knuckle feel release of pressure. Well, this is like, even though it wasn't necessarily noticeably out of place in any way, because you know, you do exercise, you bicycle, you do all kinds of stuff. And this is where it's going to be more taking its place, falling into sync with itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've been talking with the podiatrist about having surgery on it in October. So I prefer another solution happen before that.
Okay. All right. What did he say was the need of the surgery?
Well, she said it was because, that I'm walking on the wrong part of the one toe that broke and didn't heal in the
Oh,
right direction. It's kind of
got it.
sticking down and then up in the air. And so they're proposing to fix that because
Okay.
that one hurts, but the wart underneath is my main problem right now for
All right.
comfortable walking.
Okay. All right. Got it. Got it. Got it. All right. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Cool. Cool.
Okay.
How do you feel? How's the foot now?
It's tingling. Thank you.
Okay, does it hurt at all?
No.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Sue, young
Yeah.
lady. Any other questions or comments before we go on, please?
Well, I just got back from an appointment with a surgeon at Mayo today,
Yes.
and they're looking at removing some bone and cleaning out some stenosis in my neck to relieve some symptoms in my hand. And I wonder what kind of feedback you can give me.
Is it your left hand?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And do you sometimes get a tingling and a numbness in your left hand? Or
Mostly super sensitivity. It's like it's just was burned, and how sensitive it is after you've burned something. So it's like super sensitive.
okay. All right. I understand that. I understand. All right. So that's from your what, C2 or C3
Well,
or the upper part of your neck? What do they call it? T
I think
or
it's
C?
actually lower part of the neck.
Right at the bone, the prominent bump.
You know what? I don't remember what part he said he was going to clean the stenosis out of, but I think it's
Okay.
between the C5 and 6 that he's going to do the laminectomy to
Okay.
relieve some pressure on the spinal cord.
All right. Tell me if you sense something happening, please, and be candid with me.
I actually feel a little more tingling in the index finger, throbbing.
Okay. And keep me updated.
There's some sensation in the middle finger as well. I feel like there's a huge psychological factor in this too, of a sort of a letting go or
Cool.
a giving and receiving kind of hand thing. I feel like I'm just sort of relaxing into something.
Now, if you can move your hand around a little bit and tell me if you notice a difference in there, what it normally might be, or you can find out what was a uncomfortable position if it's possible, and tell me if there's any difference or the same or worse.
Right now, it feels better. Normally it was triggered by something up here, but right now it feels better.
All right. All right, one more time I'm going to work with the neck a little bit. There. And there, slightly.
I feel like it has to do with letting go of the negativity.
Do you think that's what it is?
There's some factor of that, I think.
Okay. Isn't or could the negativity be fear?
That could be too. This has been coming on since last May, so this has been a long-term thing.
Yeah, sometimes we interpret fear as negativity, not knowing that it's really a fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that just, we keep reinforcing through signs that are happening all around us and within us that it's a negativity, but it's really a fear.
So what's the best way to approach that then, from a different angle?
Then I say by objectively wondering about it, what is this fear that I have? What is this fear that's inside of me that I have? What is it really about? But it has to be so objective that we're open to seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we're thinking the answers. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, very good point you brought up, about that. And so it is taking a super objective look and wondering, what really is it? What is this fear inside of me? And let it come to you versus coming up with an answer for it.
Right.
Because when we're coming up with an answer for it, we're not giving the true answer a chance to come to us. So we have to wonder. And then an answer may come to you as an aha moment, say in the shower or doing dishes or something, or a couple minutes after you've wondered about it, if you wonder deep enough. What is this? I wonder what this is really about.
Which I'll learn with meditation, right?
Yes. 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 That will strengthen the ability to wonder,
Mm-hmm.
which is really awesome. And I'll be offering, if you're interested, the meditation once a week. And so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. And that's where you'll also find an answer. But did you ever have an injury back there, or what was that? Did you have a whiplash?
Well, about 25 years ago, I was very tense, and I had a dog take off and yank that arm. And then I was pulling, I don't know if you're familiar with buckthorn. It's an invasive plant that's got horribly hard to pull out roots.
Oh boy.
So last May, I was yanking buckthorn when I started having symptoms. So
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, and that might have just gone back to other times when you were injured in that area when the muscles
Yeah.
pulled, because the muscles protect the spine, and so if that's the purpose of them connected to the spine going throughout our body, and so if we're stressed or strained, that's also going to later reflect on the spinal column, which happens with many, many, many people for different things. You know,
Sure.
it may make them prone to whiplash later. It may make them prone to injury later. It just takes years to develop into that, or a long time. So, all right, all right, cool. My pleasure. How does it feel now? Can you give me any kind of sense if it's any different or about the same?
Actually, now it's beginning to return a little bit again, the sensations.
Okay. All righty.
But it was good for a while,
For a moment or two.
for a moment.
All right. But sometimes what happens when I work with a person, I also find that it may exacerbate after a while, but that might be the breaking of it, of the old pattern of discomfort. And that does happen too. And so,
Super.
yeah, let's find out. Let's find out. But if it does return or exacerbates, it won't be as it won't be more than you can handle, and then it breaks if that should be the case. Which is good. Breaking's not bad. It's breaking of the pattern, breaking of the discomforts, if
Right.
it should happen. Any questions, Ruth? All right,
I have a
MJ.
question.
Oh, please.
Sorry.
ahead.
Okay, so Sue, you mentioned fear, or Mark, you mentioned fear.
Yes.
So the fear in that situation could it be that you were afraid the dog would take off? Like
No, I think it was all about my state of mind at the time, just fearful about, finances and family issues and, at the time when I was 40. And then again, I think I was probably mulling over that same kind of stuff while I was yanking the buckthorn and re-injured it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the original time, like when the dog took off. And you're
Yeah, I
so
was under a
attached.
lot of personal stress at that time too. Yeah, I was like this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when he took off.
Oh, okay. I was just kind of curious how that was.
Yeah, when we're
Yeah.
getting bombarded with fear from all different sides in our life, that weakens us, and we're vulnerable. And like with the dog, that just was a part of it all, in my perception. And it helped to create a scenario that was in the making anyway. If it wasn't the dog that helped to create that scenario to finalize it, it would have been something else, maybe even more traumatic, but my perceptions of it. So, good question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Lynn?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, the dog was needed in order
Right.
to finalize it, going in that path.
And it seems like the plants were kind of a reminder as well.
Yes, very much so.
A pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank
Okay.
God it wasn't, like an automobile accident or,
Yes.
falling from a 20-story building or something like that, And
Right.
if you ever have the vision of that you're going to be falling from a 20-story building, just instead go into your car and jump out the window, you know. Make it a lot simpler, less traumatic. Or if you have a basement, jump out that window. It'll make it less traumatic and it will get it over with. But
Me, I would just say, no, that ain't happening. Let's change that.
yeah. Well, you can do it that way by saying, no, it ain't going to happen. Or you can satisfy it by saying, okay, I'm going to do it this way, my way. You know. And avoid the traumas of it all. Oh God, that reminds me of.
And you just hope you get a pre-warning, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, there was one time that someone was coming to me really depressed, and they've been developing the depression deeper and deeper and deeper, and they finally and I asked them, and they finally said, yeah, I am planning to kill myself. And I said, looking right in their eyes, and I said, can I watch? And it kind of just broke the whole thing. They didn't want to do it after that. And it was so meaningful to them. But that helps too at times when you're working with someone, if you should be. And but in any case, you got to say it to the right person at the right time, though. You just can't say it to anyone, because they'll invite you to watch it. You know. Oh God. In any case, those take that route where you don't want it. And what you can do, if you see yourself in a particular pattern or something that's happening, a neat thing to do is to see that when you're that focused where you can see that, try to envision that as a consciousness, like a globule in form that's moving, that's alive, and watch it kind of fizzle on the periphery of it. Then you'll lose the whole sense of depression or injury or whatever that site is, and it won't exist in that venue anymore. And just watching it like a clear bubble that's grayish or dingy color, and watching it that it's alive because it's moving, it's breathing. And if you can watch the periphery of the bubble kind of breaking and deteriorating, fizzling away, you'll see that it doesn't exist anymore. Even the understanding of it, it's all gone. So, any questions about that? Anything? All right. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So it's like this, the negative thing or the fearful thing or the hurtful thing is just imagined as an entity that can break up.
Yeah, and you're seeing it you're seeing it in a truer form versus the form of something that is trying to portray to us or show to us. You're seeing it as in its truer form versus something really the form of a person or the form of an entity that's, ugly or whatever. That's just the way that we're perceiving it because it wants us to see it that way.
So turn it into a blob.
What it really is, yeah, it's just a consciousness. That's all it really is. It's a globule, blob. and the only thing that it knows is fear. So that's what it's composed of. So when you're seeing it, you're seeing the fear, and it doesn't like that because fear only knows itself, and once it sees itself, when you're seeing it, it can't exist. And it goes away. MJ, is there anything that's bugging you in your body?
Yes, actually, thank you for asking. And thank
Sure.
you for that imagery that you just gave. And you also used the term, I think last month, about us, we are light bodies. And I know that. I certainly believe that and I feel that. But also when I'm having pain, even though it doesn't, like right now, I'm going to ask you to work on an area. But when I see myself as a light body or someone else as a light body, and then just feel that light body radiating out, and that's the true reality, that for me certainly accelerates my healing of whatever seems to be happening. So
yeah, see, that's the original body that's still within us. And then there's all kinds of bodies, but I only see it as one body. Some people refer to it after that as the mental body, then the etheric body, then all these kinds of bodies.
right.
Yeah, which goes into the physical, the biological body, and whatever. But that light body is our origin, and that's what's within us. And it's very difficult for humans at times to envision that light body or to know of its existence within us because we live in this world. And so now we have an opportunity to just try to remember it, and leaking out into more so the other bodies, the pain body, whatever.
Right.
And now we have that opportunity.
Right.
And it will dissipate again any kind of dross or any kind of potential situation or something that's already happening within us. That also can lead into healing to varying degrees too, and initiate the beginning of a healing. So that's a good thing to know, Sue, is that the light body within us, it's there. Now maybe it's time to remember it and watch what it does, and asking it, okay, I see you, or I can almost envision you, even though I can't quite envision you. I can almost envision you. See, now you're acknowledging it, and I wonder, what can you do for me, light body? Can you help the situation for me? Because it has a greater consciousness than we do, but it doesn't have the emotion that we have that might get in the way, or the mental pictures or gyrations that we've been through in our lives. It doesn't have those things. It only knows itself and all things of a constructive nature.
Right.
Does that make sense, MJ?
Oh, it does, and I appreciate that. And in saying that, I will certainly use that as I work on this. But if you could help me focus on the healing in the left side of my right calf has been aching, and it's like there's a deep ache within, and I don't know whether it's something to do with muscle or maybe a vein. And I'm trying to, again, using the light body, and then the physical things such as magnesium oil and certainly massage. And it's just like this deep ache I can't seem to resolve right now.
Yeah, does it also go a little bit higher than the calf?
No.
Okay. All right,
The left side of my right calf.
all right, you tell me if you experience something happen. Does it also go to the front of the knee, of the calf area, like on the knee area?
No, it tends to go back. If it's going more towards the back than the front, but it's primarily on the side heading towards the back.
Okay, all righty. Tell me what happens, and be candid, please.
Okay.
I feel it at the bend of the knee as well in the back, and further down, and maybe about an inch down into the calf.
Probably about 3 inches, starting at the bend, going down about 3 or 4 inches.
And it's most around an inch in my perception.
Mm.
Right there, did something happen?
It's not quite as painful as it has been the last week or two. But right here where I'm pushing, which is definitely about 3 inches below the bend on the left inner side.
I felt the change right there. I'm still feeling the pulsing of it, but I felt the change. Now, was it always in constant discomfort?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you can do me a favor, please, and stand up and put pressure on it a little bit. Not too much to hurt yourself, just a little bit. And walk just about 2 steps forward or back or whatever. Then tell me if you notice a difference in there. And be candid, please. And then
Well, right now it's not hurting as much as it was. It's still pretty tight and tender, but it's not like that sharp aching pain. Like I literally thought, oh my God, have I got a blood clot going on? I mean, that's how my mind was starting to work. And I thought, no, don't go there.
Don't go there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, have a seat for a moment. I'm going to do one more thing here. There. Now tell me. And be candid,
It was
please.
like a flushing out. Like all of a sudden I was just like there was a relaxation that like flushed out something.
And how does, tell me what it feels like.
When I'm pushing on it, it does not hurt the way it did an hour ago when I was pushing on it. So
Okay.
it's shifted.
All right, good. And just a suggestion, if you should, I realize that it's in the back of your knee, but if you can put, say, like a cold compress on the front of your knee,
Okay. I can
see
do
what
that.
happens.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. I'll let you
All
know.
righty. Yeah, and that might take down if there's any residue irritation there still in the tissue. That's cramping it up inside. All right. All right. And if it should be like a vein or whatever, just do you do any exercise now?
I go to the gym several times a week. I was out walking at the botanical gardens this morning.
Cool.
So I don't know, maybe I'm not stretching enough. I kind of wondered about that too.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, I want to thank everyone very, very much. And I'm praying that you have long-term effect in everything that we've done. Or causals will be brought out. Who knows, How are you doing, Sue? How do you feel?
I feel like I've got some good tools
All right.
for trying to be detached and
Yes.
talk to the light body and listen.
Yeah. It's yours, it's your light body. And that's a very direct contact with that divinity, with the godliness. And it's real, and it'll answer you and talk to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's just finding our way to, and everyone is so unique and individualistic, And hey, Ruth, how you doing? Okay? My pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Do you notice a difference in your toe or foot or anything yet?
Feels okay. I can wiggle it.
Yay! Let it wave back to you when you wave to it. Hi, Ruth. And MJ? Doing good? All right.
Yeah. I'm going to go put that ice on as soon as we log off.
All righty. Do you notice a difference in the discomforts yet, or is it about the same as it was before it got better? Or is it better?
Definitely when I'm pushing on it, it's not, it was painful when I was pushing on it, and I don't feel that same type of pain. So no, there's been a shift.
All right, good. And Lynn, real quick, is there anything please? I forgot, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. My only thing is I keep getting stuff stuck in my throat. Like I'm clearing my throat constantly, and it's getting more and more and more, and it's just wondering if there's something I need to be paying attention to there.
I don't know. This is all guesswork on my part. Are you drinking enough water and stuff?
All the time. Tea, water,
good.
Constantly drinking.
If it's mostly tea, tea dehydrates.
Oh, this is green tea.
Oh,
and
okay.
I mix juice in with my tea to water it down, to add flavor. You ever buy those drinks at the store where they're like a green tea with peach flavoring? Well,
yeah.
I make my own, but it's real.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, I drink a lot of ice water. A lot. I have this I don't know, big gallon jug, and I go through it pretty much.
All right.
Within a day.
What I can do, I can say a prayer later for your throat, or what's happening in your body to create that, if that's okay with you.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that tonight, matter of fact.
Thank you.
And all right, cool, wonderful.
Mark,
yes.
Just a thought that went through my brain, so I'm going to ask the question. I hope you have someone who sends you prayers. I certainly hold you in my prayers. You're such a remarkable man, and I hope all of us online
Thank you.
can be sending you the beautiful, loving energy too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm honored to hear that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I pretty much rely on the old man or old woman upstairs, which is really inside, and it gets me through a lot of stuff, believe me.
The best source there is.
And, you know, as I tell everyone, go to the source, you know. But at the same time, we have other people around us in life, and utilize them, you know, the most that you can. You know, that's what they're there in our lives for, as we are in theirs. So, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Also, if you're interested in doing the meditation class, so we're going to be announcing that as well, not only in email but on Facebook. And there will be a little charge, not much. It'll be a weekly thing, and just enjoy your life. That's what it's for. And when you see a distress in your body, take your hike. You know, take a hike. You're too busy. You know, and then walk away from it knowing that you did that. And it'll try to catch up like a child, saying, "Hey, what about me, Mom? What about me?" Wait over there. I told you to take a hike. You know, set up your tent, light your fire. You know, look at yourself in the mirror. I'll be right back.
Good
And,
imagery.
yeah. Have fun, everyone.
Night.
And blessings to you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Bye.